Hi everyone, this is Wynn. I hope that your day has been going absolutely swimmingly. On my channel, I download you on some rather unique places and experiences all around the world. Things that are a bit outside of the usual top 10 travel guides. And today we're focusing on the luxurious Hotel Casa Del Mar in Santa Monica, California. Now, I have a fairly personal relationship with this hotel. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I had no job, I had nothing to do. I also had no money. And so I would sneak into the pool, I would sunbathe, I would order their cheapest drink, and I would feel like a queen for the day. So I was a bit overwhelmed when I learned the rather crazy history of this oh so fancy establishment. Now, the Hotel Casa Del Mar is listed in the National Register of Historic Places, and the hotel is simply gorgeous. I mean, between the rooftop pool, the dining room with panoramic ocean views, and the prime Santa Monica location, what's there not to love? So the Casa Del Mar has a rich history that dates all the way back to the 20s. The building was constructed by these two brothers, Jack and Till Harder. Casa Del Mar initially opened in 1926 as a private beach club. The club had a guest list of about 2,000 members. And here you can see just how glamorous the opening party was. I mean, fancy, right? The building was designed by a certain architect dude named Charles F. Plummer in the Italian Renaissance style. You can for sure see how this spot is inspired by those grand Italian beach villas you might see in like Positano. During 1926 to 1941, the club was a huge success. The club attracted all sorts of celebrities such as Charlie Chaplin and Joan Crawford. It was really the hottest spot around. As you can see here, these people got up to all sorts of fun and games. I mean, there was a swim team, they had volleyball tournaments, dancing, general antics. And when no one was looking, the club also served up a bevy of illicit booze. Remember, this was like the height of Prohibition. The club also functioned as an underground casino, and they had illegal slot machines and horse betting. These are clearly not sober people. I mean, fun, right? The club stayed strong throughout the Great Depression, but in the 1940s, the US government took over the property and used it as a recreational facility for the military. At the time, the US Navy was pretty fearful that the Japanese would storm the beaches, so they took over the whole area. After the war, the hotel was returned to its former glory and opened to the public in the 1950s, and it quickly became a favorite of celebrities like Marilyn Monroe and Cary Grant. However, by the early 1960s, the club closed down. And this is where it starts to get a bit dark. And I'm going to go a bit further into this part than any other part of the history of the hotel because, well, it gets culty. So in 1967, a certain Charles or Chuck E. Dieterich moved his drug rehab program into the former club. Casa Del Mar became his primary facility for his Synanon Foundation. Synanon was at Casa Del Mar for 10 years. Dieterich founded it in the 1950s as a self-help rehab center, and over the decades, Synanon turned into a violent cult. Chuck Dieterich had a rough childhood and turned to drinking, and eventually found sobriety in AA at the urging of his then-wife. Chuck apparently was a huge narcissist, but his followers said that he possessed an unbelievable amount of wisdom about how to get sober. He would apparently give these lectures for hours and hours on end. These talks were nicknamed Synanons, a mix of symposiums and anonymous, hence the name of the group. Dieterich was a huge fan of attack therapy. He believed in making people deeply uncomfortable to get to a deeper truth. Group therapy involved singling out members and berating them with questions and accusations that were or were not based in truth. The recipient would need to agree to change their ways to just make it stop. This was called the game. The game was a constant throughout the history of Synanon. When Chuck moved into Casa Del Mar, the neighbors were not happy. Folks did not back then understand much about drug addiction and did not like the flavor of the new neighbors. This led Chuck to go on a PR blitz, and he ended up garnering a whole bunch of donations. These donations spurred a good amount of growth, first around Los Angeles and then throughout the country. Synanon welcomed people from all walks of life. Life there was highly structured, and people never had to leave so long as they worked. The organization self-policed, with members telling on each other for breaking the rules. However, Synanon was also a source of fun. They would throw a party every single week that involved a whole lot of live music and a whole lot of dancing. Eventually, people who weren't even addicts came to live at the facility, And when the organization got bigger and started expanding, that's when they became stricter. People needed permission to date, and the men had to shave their heads when they broke the rules. As time went on, Chuck upped the stakes of the game. Basically, he made the whole thing longer, eventually 72 straight hours. It was around this time that members started to call Chuck their God and Savior. Real serious, scary cult stuff. Members began to echo a lot of his behavior, mimicking his clothing and eating choices. When the government eventually caught on and took away Synanon's tax-exempt status as a drug rehab facility, Chuck declared it a religion and renamed it the Church of Synanon. The newly founded church hired an increasingly larger staff of lawyers to defend its interests. Synanon began to recruit troubled children. These kids soon became a focus of violence. Can you imagine attack therapy with children? Eventually, Chuck tired of kids and ordered members to stop having children. He thought that keeping kids around was a poor use of organizational resources. Basically, kids are expensive. This became a big subject of discussion in the game. He pressured multiple members to undergo vasectomies and abort pregnancies. Things began to unravel for the group when abused children began to run away. Chuck empowered a self-policing force called Imperial Marines who ensured no members broke the rules. And of course, one of those rules was leaving. Those who spoke out about the group or pressed charges were targeted by Synanon lawyers. Synanon members even placed a rattlesnake in the mailbox of an attorney named Paul Morantz. Paul Morantz had successfully sued the cult for holding members against their will. Morantz was hospitalized for 6 days, but was ultimately fine. Dieterich was increasingly emboldened, at this point openly threatening his enemies with violence. He was finally arrested in 1978 along with 2 other members. After Dieterich's arrest, the cult slowly lost steam, and now, thankfully, it is a thing of the past. Okay, so I know all that cult stuff is morbidly fascinating, but let's get back to the next chapter of Casa Del Mar. Switching gears here. In 1978, a longevity and nutrition researcher named Nathan Pritkin took over the building for his Pritkin Longevity Center. Basically, this was a diet and exercise facility. No cult nonsense here as long as we know, just pretty boring low-fat diet stuff. And then in the 90s, the hotel was purchased by a group of investors who had a big vision to restore the hotel to its former Gatsby-esque glory. And boy, they delivered. The Edward Thomas Hospitality Corporation spent $50 million on renovations, and the hotel reopened in 1999. In 2000, the U.S. Department of the Interior listed Hotel Casa Del Mar on the National Register of Historic Places. In 2008, and then again in 2014, the hotel saw 2 major renovations. They added new furniture and architectural finishes and updated the lobby, all in order to restore the hotel to its former glory. Now, if you are in Los Angeles or Santa Monica, now you know where to go. Stay for a night, stay for a few nights, or just stop by for lunch with a beautiful view. Hotel Casa Del Mar, if you want to pay me for this, let me know. Okay guys, that's a wrap. Thank you so much everyone. I really appreciate you joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this video, please like, please comment, and please subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.